Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. Welcome to Disabled Reality. I am your host, Anthony Lorito-Duke, and we have a great topic for today's show in which it's important to listen to all sides of every situation. Um, there's an old saying, to every situation there's three sides. There's yours, there's mine, and in between is the truth. And in every case, like I'll give you an example. Like with this impeachment trial that's going on right now, um, we already listened to the Democrats from the House of Representatives, uh, who um, discussed their case, their side of the story, and now Trump's attorneys are discussing their side, and hopefully, hopefully that after both sides have finished uh, their testimonies, hopefully witnesses and evidence will be introduced because that's very important in order to make a proper determination. And that's where the basic third side is the first side was the Democrats from the House of Representatives. The second side is the attorneys representing Trump. And the third side, which is the in between, the truth, is the truth, the witnesses, and the evidence. And then that way, a proper determination can be made. And that's not asking for much. And, the people deserve that. And, um, and not just in uh, that case, but it's important for every situation for this to be. It's a lot of people just want one-sided situations, just hear one side and that's it. That's not fair. Everybody's to be treated equally in this country, and in any trial, any case, any situation, it's important to listen to both sides. Everybody, each side has a right to stipulate uh, their case. Everybody has a right to be heard. And, if one side's going to be sneaky and try to be manipulative, people are going to see right through that. And it's not going to end up good for them. But it's as long as it's important to hear both sides, and to listen to all the witnesses and to all the evidence as well. So, um, but unfortunately, you have a lot of people out there who just want to listen to just one side, and um, who are just gonna, not pay attention to anything, and that's really not fair. And let me tell you something: to those people that are like that, karma is an SOB, and it's gonna come back at you, and you're not gonna like it. So everybody has a right to be heard. You know, um, all evidence, all witnesses are important to listen to, and that way you could make a proper determination. And also, you'll be able to pretty much pick out of who might be telling a lie and stuff like that. And so that's why all that is important. And uh, that goes in every situation. And I also now, I mean, that's just, I also just want to say that, I mean, this is my opinion, and people can take it or leave it. But I hope that my shows uh, help people. And even if I just help one person, I've done my job, you know. And also, I want to stipulate that another important thing is it's also very important to listen to things that you may not want to hear, or to look at evidence that you may not want to see. To resolve any situation, all cards need to be placed on the table, all of the cards. And some people may want to turn a blind eye to all that, and that's not right to do. As adults, we need to be strong enough and mature enough to face all this evidence, to listen to it and or read it and stuff like that, and face it. And it's not an easy thing to do, but it takes a real mature, strong adult to do it. Because you want it to done, they're going to want it to be done for them. And so, with that being said, if they want it to be done for them, then they have to have that leadership quality of them showing that they do it. And so, with that, I want to take this opportunity to remind everybody about my business, my website, which is Advocate Information Highway. And the link to there is awldny.com. That's A like Apple, W like Wind, L like Larry, D like David, NY like for the state of New York.com. And I've been working diligently hard on my website, and so you guys can check out all 7 pages on there. I've already discussed multiple times uh, what's on each page, so I would just want to take this time to discuss one thing that I've been asked so many times. Um, all my fans out there, you guys have heard me talk about both books that I wrote, and um, I just want to take a brief moment to discuss about them. I've done that on my other show on equality and rights for all, and I want to do that for this show as well. And the first book that I wrote, well, first of all, let me say this. You could purchase both books that I wrote on Amazon.com. And the first book that I wrote is called Let's Talk About It, in which um, uh, the, in the first chapter, I discuss about the work that I've done for fighting for animal rights. Second chapter, I've discussed about the work that I've done in fighting for LGBT rights. In the third chapter, I discussed about how I've done work for fighting for the rights for people with disabilities. In the fourth chapter, I discussed about how I've done the work to deal with government agencies. In the fifth chapter, I discussed about um, how to get politicians to work for you. In the sixth chapter, I discussed about how to get proper health coverage and providers. In the seventh chapter, I discussed about how to deal with providers that do not do their jobs properly. In the eighth chapter, I discussed about medications, in which I've proven that, how it's money for doctors, hospitals, and pharmacists. In the ninth chapter, I discussed about building up the body and the mind. Now that's in the first book that I wrote. In the second book that I wrote, which is called Let's Talk About It More, um, in the first chapter, I've discussed about how I've done work in the entertainment field. In the second chapter, I've discussed about how I've done work with education. In the third chapter, I discussed about how I've done work with business. In the fourth chapter, I discussed about how I've done work in fighting for women's rights. In the fifth chapter, I've discussed about how I've done work in helping to fight for immigration reform. In the sixth chapter, I discussed about how I've done work in fighting for housing. And in the seventh chapter, I've discussed about the economy. Now, that's in the second book that I wrote. And again, you can purchase both books on Amazon.com. And for all the people out there that are not big book readers, that, especially, who don't like big, long, thick books, both of these books are very, very thin reference books. Uh, there's not a lot of pages at all to either book. So, um, it's easy read and um, like I said, you could check both books out, and so I wanted to let everybody know about that, and I hope to speak to everybody again next Thursday, which is January 30th, for my first show that I host here on Spreaker.com called Equality and Rights for All. And I hope to speak to everybody again next Friday, which is January 31st, for this show, Disabled Reality. And so, with that, take care, everybody. Bye.